All right, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about one of the most incredible monuments on Earth, but maybe not in the way you'd expect. See, its story of survival actually became this huge landmark case in the global fight against climate change. It's a fascinating mix of art, science, and, you guessed it, the law.
So our story kicks off with a real mystery, at one of the seven wonders of the world, no less. This absolutely pristine masterpiece of architecture was starting to show signs of, well, a strange and pretty serious illness.
And this was the big question, right? The one that had everybody completely baffled and, honestly, pretty worried. We're talking about the Taj Mahal. Its iconic, brilliant white marble was changing color, turning this sickly yellow. The mystery was, what on earth was causing it?
And this wasn't just some rumor. As you can see from this quote, it was documented in an official Supreme Court case. The damage was real, and it was getting worse. The masterpiece was literally fading before the world's eyes.
Okay, so investigators had to find the source. This discoloration, it wasn't just natural aging, it felt like an attack. The hunt was officially on for the chemical culprit responsible for staining this priceless piece of our world's heritage.
And the prime suspect? Acid rain. You know, it's what happens when all that gunk from factories and cars shoots up into the atmosphere, mixes with the water in the clouds, and then falls back down as this corrosive rain. It literally eats away at buildings, damages crops, and poisons whole ecosystems.
And in this case, the source of that pollution was crystal clear. The court case actually identified a whole ring of polluters right around the monument: foundries, chemical plants, a massive oil refinery, and just the constant exhaust from local cars and buses. All of them together were creating a perfect storm of pollution, attacking the Taj Mahal's marble day in and day out.
But the story doesn't stop there. Not even close. See, the acid rain that was damaging the Taj Mahal, that was just one symptom of a much, much bigger problem. One that affects not just a single monument, but our entire planet.
Yep, we're talking about global warming. The source material here defines it as this slow, steady creep up of the world's average temperature. Now, you might hear a number like a half-degree increase and think, so what? That's tiny. But trust me, for our planet's entire climate system, that is a huge deal with some seriously far-reaching consequences.
So how does this warming even happen? Well, it's called the greenhouse effect. Just think of our atmosphere like a cozy blanket. Gases like CO2 and methane naturally trap some of the sun's heat, which keeps our planet warm enough for us to live. The problem is, our activities are making that blanket thicker and thicker, and now it's trapping way too much heat.
And where are all these extra gases coming from? Well, the culprits should sound pretty familiar by now. Industrialization, the very same thing causing the pollution around the Taj. Chopping down our forests, which are the planet's lungs for absorbing CO2. And of course, the emissions from billions of cars.
The ripple effects from all this are just staggering. We're seeing rising sea levels from melting ice caps, fertile land turning into desert, and a dangerous spike in extreme weather events. And look at that last one. More frequent acid rains. It all circles right back to our story, doesn't it?
If you want a number that really makes you sit up and pay attention, look at this. The sources project a potential 4.5 degrees Celsius rise by 2030 if we just keep going the way we are. That's a truly world-altering amount of warming in a terrifyingly short amount of time.
So, facing this colossal challenge on both a local and a global scale, we've had to turn to one of our oldest tools for creating order and protecting the things we value: the law.
You know, at the very heart of environmental law is this ancient Roman principle. It's such a powerful and simple idea. Basically, your right to do something stops where someone else's harm begins. In today's world, that means one country can't just pollute in a way that harms another, or harms the global environment we all share.
And that ancient idea has evolved into this really important modern concept: sustainable development. The key question it forces all of us to ask is, how can we make progress today without completely wrecking the planet for our kids and grandkids tomorrow? It's all about finding that balance.
Okay, so let's see how those powerful legal ideas were actually put into practice to solve the mystery of the fading wonder. We're heading back to the Taj Mahal for the climax of our story. The showdown happened in the Supreme Court of India. The official name of the case was MC Mehta versus the Union of India, but pretty much everyone remembers it as the Taj Mahal pollution case. And what the court did next was honestly a masterclass in taking action. First, they pinpointed the problem, exactly 292 industries, no guesswork. Second, they brought in big legal ideas like sustainable development and the precautionary principle, which is basically a fancy way of saying act now to prevent harm, even if you're not 100% sure how bad it'll be. And third, they issued a clear, no-nonsense order. Either switch to cleaner natural gas or pack up and move. That verdict was a massive victory. I mean, it saved a priceless world treasure. But its importance is so much bigger than that. The real takeaway here is how a local fight to save one building can light up the path for how we tackle a global crisis.
And what's really fascinating is the timing. The Taj Mahal verdict was handed down in 1997, the exact same year the Kyoto Protocol was adopted, which was the world's first big agreement to cut greenhouse gases. It was all part of this growing global movement, a movement that led to the Paris Agreement and the ongoing fight to use legal tools to protect our shared home.
So, if there's one thing to take away from this whole story, it's this. The law isn't just a bunch of dusty old books. It's a living, breathing, powerful tool. We can use it to hold polluters accountable and to protect not only the incredible treasures of our past, but the very possibility of a livable future.
The Taj Mahal case really gives us a blueprint, and it gives us a reason to have some hope. It proved that decisive legal action can solve a hugely complex environmental problem. And that leaves us with one final and really vital question to think about. If the law could save one wonder, can we use it to help save our world?